So South Africa, like you said, they have 3 capitals: Pretoria,
Johannesburg and Cape Town.
and all 3 of them are like within.
No, they are not. So officially on paper, Pretoria is the state capital, but like through word, there's 3. There's Johannesburg, Cape Town.
What do you mean by through word?
Through word, as it's known like to the people. There's like 3 distinct cities sort of in South Africa. Officially, it's Pretoria, but Johannesburg and Pretoria are quite close together. They are towards the top center, sort of like upper half. They're within 60 kilometers of each other, and Cape Town is way down south. That's very far away.
Cape Town is major.
It's a major tourist
landmark in history as well. I remember like
there's a Table Mountain. It's one of the 8 wonders of the world. It's beautiful. It's like so pretty.
What exactly do you mean Table Mountain?
So the mountain is shaped like a table. So like it's like, so the mountain curves up like this, flat, and then curves down. Right. So if you look
like someone cut off the top of the mountain.
That I don't know.
It looks like someone.
It looks like someone's cut off the top, and in the mornings especially, because of it's near the sea, right? And sometimes there's mist, and the mist covers the top, and they call that the tablecloth. Actually, they call that the tablecloth because the mist covers the top, and it's like a table pretty much. It's very pretty.
I did not know that was the 8th wonder of the world.
I think so. I believe it's one of the. I'm not exactly sure, but I believe it was one of the 8 wonders.
So, have you been around the country anywhere else?
Yeah, fair bit. So Pretoria, Johannesburg, we used to go a lot because we had friends there, and it's not that bad of a drive. Then there's the Kruger National Park, which is one of the biggest safari parks in the world, and I believe it's almost the same size as Sri Lanka.
The national park?
I think so. I'm not sure. I'm not exactly sure on that. We'll have to double check that, but it's huge.
Okay.
We spent 3 days there and we couldn't cover the whole park.
Okay.
So it's a must do in South Africa, and you can see like all the exotic types of wildlife. You can see prey being hunted by predators. You can see sleeping lions, like everything. So that's one. And then there's Durban, which is if you want to go to like enjoy the beach life, the sun, the beach, all that, that's the place to go.
Durban.
Yeah, that's where majority of the Indian population is.
Right.
It's in Durban. There's a famous football stadium there also. So yeah, we went there. That's also a really nice place by the beach. You can enjoy it. And then Cape Town, we went. In Cape Town, Robben Island, which was where Nelson Mandela was held in prison.
Right.
So that's like that's like a tourist attraction now.
Oh, it's a tourist attraction.
Yeah, it's a tourist attraction. And then there's like theme parks and all. And there's countries within South Africa. So like, yeah, it's surrounded by South Africa, but they've got their own border and they've got their own passport.
What is this country?
There's 2. There's Lesotho and Swaziland.
Both of them are in South Africa.
Yeah.
There's entire countries.
It's small. It's like a city sort of.
Right.
But they are independent nation.
Why are they independent?
I don't know. So you have to go through border patrol, passport, everything, the whole deal when you enter there. So yeah, we went there, and yeah,
You've been to both places, Lesotho and
we went to Swaziland. I think Lesotho, I'm not sure if we went there because we tried to cover that in one trip. Right. So I'm not sure if we went to Lesotho, but we went to Swaziland.
Right. So we could do stories from Swaziland within the South Africa episode, like the countries within the country. Well, no, I'm just joking.
There's nothing much there.
Right. Yeah. So I mean, that's okay. Like now that you mentioned, I remember seeing it in the map, right? That these countries, but then it's kind of a crazy fact to think about it, right? it's interesting. So like you said that you drove around
Yeah.
all these places, right? So something that's that I would like to ask is about what it's like as in transportation in South Africa. Like so in Pretoria, basically that's what you do, right? So is public transport the mainstay, or like does everyone have their own vehicles? Or
Most, at least back then, most people had their own car.
Mhm.
We didn't use public transport a lot for safety reasons and because we weren't very familiar with the place.
Right.
So at least I only went. So there's taxis, there's buses, and
There's no tuk, right?
no, there's no tuks. Imagine.
But there were tuks in apparently Spain or Portugal or something. They had tuks there.
Probably.
Yeah, so I was like, huh? Yeah.
But yeah, there. And then there's a train. So I only went on the train, and that was also once. That was a nice experience. It's almost like a bullet train sort of thing. Not as fast. It just looks like a bullet train. It's quite fast.
Not like our trains.
No.
Not those. Not the old.
No. It's quite modern, but like that's not to say our trains are bad or anything. But so yeah, taxis and all we didn't go much. We had a car then. A lot of people use cars, and back then vehicles were somewhat affordable to the general public. So it wasn't crazy expensive or anything.
Has things changed?
Yeah, I think recently there was an economic collapse and they are facing some dark times. It's a shame to see. It's like the most beautiful country I've been to, or at least one of the, and see the economic collapse because of government corruption and
Kind of
all that stuff.
sounds like a very familiar
Very
story.
familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But
to avoid being political.
yeah, so public transport, it's available. It's not as commonly used. At least I didn't use it a lot. But yeah, a lot of people do use it though.
So in terms of public transport, it's buses or maybe they have trams.
Trams, they don't have trams. They have buses and they have vans where like you get in. It's like a bus, but it's a van.
Yeah.
And then they have taxis and all. Yeah.
That's fair enough. And you were speaking about the soccer stadium in Durban, right? Football stadium in Durban. But before we get into sports, you know what? Let's just talk about sports because it is
Relevant to the
yeah,
time.
it is relevant. Yeah. So
Yeah, so their football is like the sport. However, it's the one that they are least performing in. It's the most celebrated sport there. Football is like the number one sport. That's what everyone
a lot
plays.
of people got famous South Africa after the World Cup.
Sorry?
The World Cup,
The
2012 was it?
10.
10.
Shakira.
10, right?
Yeah.
So you were in South Africa?
No, that was right after. So I think that was around the mid of the year. And we went there towards the end.
Right. So South Africa became huge after that, right? Became and I think maybe that's why the first thing that I associate with South Africa is colourful maybe because the song and everything was the waving flag, right? It is
Still iconic.
yeah, it is the song. So, but they're not very successful.
Yeah, so football-wise, they're not very successful, and so they have interesting names for all these teams, like how New Zealand has like Black Caps, All Blacks.
Yeah.
So their football team is called Bafana Bafana.
Bafana.
Yeah,
Trevor Noah.
Bafana Bafana. Yes. Then they have cricket, Proteas. Very good team, lots of potential, just unlucky. The unluckiest team probably in the world. And then they have rugby, which is their most successful sport. Just recently they won the Rugby World Cup also. So they are called Springboks. And yeah, rugby is by far their most successful World Cup. I think they've won 4 or 3. They've won the most titles after the recent win. So yeah, those are like the 3 major sports. They do play like a little bit of basketball and a little bit of volleyball here and there in schools and whatnot. Mostly, it's the most frequently played sport is football. Then I believe it's rugby, and then cricket. It's played here and there, but it has a following. It has some more following. Yeah.
So the cricket team is Proteas. The Raga team is
Springboks.
and this is Bafana.
Bafana.
What does Bafana mean?
I have no idea. That it's probably got some name to it, yeah. But I'm not sure the meaning behind it.
Yeah. So that's just a little off sports. So the next major thing when it comes to after the people and the language is going to obviously be the food, right? So I believe that food is going to be just as colorful as the people are.
It is. They've got a huge variety.
Mm-hmm.
It's different from what they have here, like in the Asian regions. So they don't have a lot of curries. They have the Indian population there. They have an infusion of Indian cuisine and whatnot, but their staple food is called pap. It's like a dense porridge sort of thing.
Okay.
So it's like it's like a mixture between like porridge and kiribata, milk rice, what we have here.
Okay.
So it's like a dense porridge kind of thing, and you eat it with gravy and stew. And
You mean by staple? You mean they eat this for lunch?
They eat this all the time. This is their staple food. Like how rice is our staple food, pap is like their staple food.
Okay, so it's basically like a porridge.
It's like a dense porridge. So it's like a doughy, dense porridge kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know how to describe it properly. The pap itself doesn't have a lot of flavor, but you pair it up with like stews and curries and all that stuff. So that's like their go-to meal.
Mm-hmm.
And then they do a lot of barbecue. They have their own twist of barbecue. It's called braai.
Braai.
Yeah, they have their own name for it. And
what is the twist?
I think it's the stove they cook it, or most probably. Yeah, maybe. I'm not exactly sure. But or the way they prepare it to something. But that's like the party food.
Okay.
That's their go-to. Whenever there's a party, there's a braai. And when you walk down the street, you can smell the barbecue from the other houses, and it's the best smell. It gets you so hungry. So they have like their own meats that they barbecue.
What do you mean their own meats?
As in like not their own meats.
No, I mean,
They have like
is it something other than chicken?
Yeah. So they have beef, pork. Sometimes they do like boars and I think there's deer meat. So they've got some exotic meats as well.
Right.
And then they have the usual stuff. And then they've got their sausages and all whatnot. They do that a lot during the weekends. Every weekend, there's at least a couple houses in each neighborhood that have braai.
So there are people that don't have to wait. They don't have to wait until vacation to party, right?
Yeah.
Weekend.
So weekend. You don't have to, but it's mostly a celebration food. And then they've got some Indian classics. They have this thing called bunny chow, which is like
bunny chow.
Bunny chow.
Okay.
So it's like a loaf of bread.
Mm-hmm.
You take the middle part out, and then you just fill it up with curry, and then you just eat it like that.
Okay.
It's very good. And then they've got there's this another dish where they make a lot of stews.
Stews. Okay.
Yeah. So you just put all vegetables, meat, all of it into one pot, and you just cook up like a curry. Not exactly a curry, but like a stew kind of thing in one pot. So those are some.
This is across the country, right? Okay.
Not just
Are there any regional variations?
Like bunny chow is mostly in like Indian restaurants and Durban, and then braai is they do that all across. Pap is mostly the black people. That's what they mainly eat.
Mm-hmm.
And then braai is an Afrikaans word, I believe. So I think a lot of the white population. But that doesn't mean the black the black people don't do it. And so they each have a background to where these foods come from. Now it's just like a whole cocktail of different foods.
I mean, much like us, right? Africa has a very rich history.
They do.
So when we were doing the Botswana episode, right? I remember one of the most shocking things that I learned from the media was they eat worms. I can't remember the name of the worm. What was it? He even sent me pictures. Apparently, it's very common And common sense is a very, I'm not going to say normal because that means I was assuming that normal, but no, it's a very like kind of staple thing. It's a delicacy in a sense.
That's the first time I'm hearing about it also. They don't eat worms in South Africa, but they have like, delicacy-wise, they have this thing called biltong. Have you heard of beef jerky?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the American version.
Yeah.
So like in South Africa, they have, it's dried meat pretty much,
Mhm.
like just dry aged
Smoked or just dry?
smoke, and it's just dry, and then they put like some seasoning or whatnot. It's so good. It's like the best snack.
What is it again?
Biltong.
Biltong.
Yeah, so they just dry different types of meat. It's so good. It's That's
So the next major thing that I would like to talk about is the weather. Right. So
yeah. So unlike here, unlike the South Asian countries, they have seasons there, so it's not burning hot throughout the year. So there's winter, summer, spring, and autumn. I think winter was around April.
okay, so it's kind of like the opposite.
Yeah. So I think in December it was summer. So and then there's spring, June, July. I'm not sure. I can't exactly remember how it was, but they have seasons there. Winter, it doesn't get awfully cold like it does in like the Western countries.
Does it snow? Does it snow?
No, it doesn't generally snow, but there was once where it snowed a little bit in like one of. It's very rare, but I think maybe due to global warming and whatnot, there's some incidences of snow. It hails a lot. So there's like bricks of ice falling down.
Have you ever had an experience?
I've been in hail, like, yeah, you experience it definitely, but it's not like, it's not bad. It's not like golf ball size ice balls falling down, but yeah, winter is okay. It's a nice chilly time. It doesn't get too bad where you need to cover up with a lot of.
So is it like lower cold or?
It gets a little bit colder.
Colder than
And then summer is not too bad. It's not. It gets hot, but you don't sweat a lot in South Africa. It's not as humid.
Why is it so like every other country like it's hot but so sweat? It doesn't sweat.
Yeah. I think it's
because
because of the humidity here. And yeah, I think it's because of the humidity. It's quite dry there, so you don't sweat a lot. Spring is nice, autumn is nice, so you can see like the orange trees and whatnot. In October, I believe it's October, there's this thing called the jacaranda season. Jacaranda. So yeah, so the thing is, the streets in South Africa, like the city areas or the suburbs and all, they are lined with trees. There's trees planted on both sides on the sidewalks, and these trees during the October season, there's this flower called the jacaranda flower, and it's purple. And during that time, all the flowers, all these jacaranda flowers blossom during that time. Yeah, so it's so beautiful. It's like you're walking down pretty much a purple street. Pretty much, I can show pictures later. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. So yeah. Other than that, it changes from here.
So the weather seems like a pretty a big plus.
Yeah, definitely. It's a huge plus.
I mean, it's nice to have seasons, but not extreme seasons.
It's in moderation.
Yeah, that's cool. So So